So it's great for me to be here today, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So it's quite strange for me because I'm doing the content to talk with you guys about the marketing. That's weird, actually. But because I have been in football and sport in Vietnam for almost 20 years, so I will share with you that you may know or not about the football and marketing activities in Vietnam with football. So you know that the uh, the football in Vietnam it started about 60 years ago, but in early 1990s, that the time we started to see the advertising board on the fields for the domestic football matches. So at that time, we saw with the Pepsi, Dunhill, Tiger beers. So it means that so many international brands, when they came to Vietnam, they get involved with the football matches in Vietnam immediately. So in 1998, after about 30 years, because you know that in 1967, the club in England became the first one ever to sign the sponsorship for shirt sponsorship. That's and then followed by the Liverpool in 1979. But until 1998, some clubs in Vietnam, especially in the North Vietnam, they signed a contract to be with some shirt sponsors like Blues and Halida Beer. So and some others in the south following in the next season as well. So in the 2000, V-League turned into very important stage. It's either first ever title sponsorship contract with the Strata. Strata, I don't know, is still in Vietnam or not, but it is the first title sponsor for Vietnam Football League. And following Strata after 3 years, there was Sting from Pepsi company from Kindo and number one Eurowindow Vietnam Petrogas and Exim Bank and now Toyota now is on the 30 years. And for the Vietnam football national team, is until 2006, the two national teams, the women and the men, signed their April contract with Nike. That's just 11 years ago. So I can say that for marketing and for sponsorship with Vietnam football, even with the national teams, I think it was so slow to compare with other countries. And because we have we have a representative from the Densu as well. So these are the agents for Vietnam national team. Now the national team have some media partners and also for some business partners like Sony, Yamaha, JCOM, VP Milk, and One Sports. And so my conclusion is that football is an express path for brands when it's arrived Vietnam or it's founded in Vietnam by local people. For example, like Blues, they came to Vietnam in 1992 and start its sponsorship deal with the clubs in 1997. Pepsi came to Vietnam in 1994 and sponsored in 1996. And JCOM came to Vietnam. GCOM came to Vietnam in 2012 and started deal with the national team in 2016. And football became the fastest way to become more being awareness by people in Vietnam. So Mr. Đoàn Nguyễn Đức from Hoàng Gia Lai, he said that football amazingly made Hoàng Gia Lai famous in Vietnam and in the region. And Mr. Trần Đình Long from Hòa Phát, he said that not many people knew Hòa Phát until they own a football club. Hòa Phát now is no longer exist in football in Vietnam, but they switched it from Vietnam football to international football. I will tell you later. So for the broadcasting in Vietnam, the top events, you know that the World Cup, Euro, and the third, I think, is our regional Suzuki Cup. It's every 2 years. And for international leagues, these are Premier League, Champions League, and La Liga, I think, uh, which are top three in Vietnam for Vietnam people. And broadcasters for those leagues, for Premier League and Champions League and La Liga, Champions League no longer on TV in Vietnam, but Premier League and La Liga still, and some others as well on K Plus and VTV Cup, VSTV, and some digital platforms. So how can I say for advertising with the international football? So Hoàng Anh Gia Lai, they are a pioneer in Vietnam actually, because in 2007 they got their names on the LED boards in the field on the field in the Premier League, and that follows by so many brands in Vietnam. So as Ivan said earlier, some brands in Vietnam now also in Liga football matches as well, for number one drinks, and so TVCs now became some brands became the broadcasting sponsors, like a Hòa Phát. Hòa Phát is no longer in domestic football, but they follow closely. They get involved closely with international footballs, especially Premier League on K Plus. So if you were in Vietnam in 2011, you may know that Kangaroo at that time they made people so angry, but I think it was so successful. Just after one TVC only, between the two halves at the halftime, just I think 5 seconds only, boom, Kangaroo, the number one water filter machine in Vietnam. They repeat it for 100 times, and in the next morning, hundreds or dozens of the newspapers criticized that, and VTV they had to explain, and they had to say sorry, to apologize for that. But now Kangaroo actually is number one for their business in Vietnam. So I think before that game, the Kangaroo they did the TVC for the Champions League final between Barcelona and Manchester United in Wembley Stadium. And after that TVC, I think all the people in Vietnam, when they need the water machine, they go to Kangaroo. They think about it. So I think the football is an expressway for the international or local brands to come to Vietnam people. So the reason why some brands in Vietnam they stop going with the local football, because they came with political reasons, and after a few years they gave up. And the match fixing and intransparency in domestic league, that would again some brands in Vietnam. For example, a couple years ago, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, there were a lot of banks in Vietnam became sponsor for the clubs in Vietnam, but no longer. For example, like Kin Long Bank no longer exists, Navy Bank or Azim Bank. So many brands in banking system, they stopped sponsoring the clubs in Vietnam. Now only one left. That's a Asset Bank from in Da Nang for the Da Nang club, and a lot of companies they blame that when they sponsor for the clubs in Vietnam or the football leagues in Vietnam, when they paid money for the title sponsor, and that's all. No activities, no add-on value, no campaigns. So it made less impact for their media campaign or the targets. So Hòa Phát is still the case I want to mention, because Hòa Phát now switch from domestic league to international league, because they consider that the international league, like a Premier League, is more interesting, more transparent, and it's much safer than domestic league. And now the Huafat owners, they say that, okay, with the Premier League on K+, they can sleep well. And we can see a lot of challenges and opportunities for the at the same time for the sports sponsorship, because you know that now in Vietnam, the entertainment programs domination on free-to-air TV is a big issue for sport, because maybe in America you know that for the Friday night or the weekends. Only for the sport competition, and like some entertaining shows that even is very famous, like The Voice or the American Got Talent, only from Monday to Wednesday or Thursday only. So it doesn't take the audience from the sport competition. So, but in Vietnam, it's a big issue. So I think that's the biggest challenge for the broadcaster like us, and. For the opportunities that we see that the Premier League is the most watched sport league on TV, because maybe you can, I think the Premier League is the only content that allow you to see the people sitting on the pavement or the curb or in the sport bar in the evening for several hours to watch a game. So you cannot see that kind of other sport contents or TV programs are in Vietnam, and so based on the digital newspapers stats, EPL, Champions League, and La Liga, they are top 3 in Vietnam for the viewerships, and we also see that the big opportunity because the development of the economy in Vietnam that attract a lot of international brands coming to Vietnam, like Yokohama Thai, Kumho Thai, and Chevrolet Emirates Chang Grifols. Grifols is the rumors that are going to buy the names of the Camp Nou Stadium in Barcelona for 400 million euros for maybe for 3 decades, and so we see that as a big opportunities. So the K+ is the broadcaster for so many high-profile contents: Premier League, La Liga, ATP, PGA Tour, and table tennis, and Kids Warriors, the MMA. MMA is a developing sport in Vietnam. So we see that the sport is not only for men, sport for all, sport for the whole family. The whole family sitting together in front of the TV, and they can watch together the sports show, and then later they can follow the games. So please help me to play the video here, because it's the way how we tease, how we introduce a football game to Vietnam, to our audiences.
Dạ, anh sẵn sàng. Bây giờ chúng ta sẽ bắt đầu ngay với mảnh ghép số 1 ạ. Đây là cụm từ chỉ người ghi bàn nhiều nhất ạ.
Cụm từ chỉ người ghi bàn nhiều nhất, vua phá lưới.
Vâng, chính xác ạ.
Có vua có kéo phá rồi, xong.
Mảnh ghép số 2 xin mời ạ. Đây là gì ạ? Đây là gì và kia là gì ạ?
Đây là gì?
Đây là
Ôi
gì ạ?
trời, cái hình này thì bị béo cho tôi cũng đoán được. Cái hình này nó quá đơn giản, nếu tôi đoán không nhầm thì
Đây là táo gì đây anh?
Táo thôi, đúng là táo thôi. Thì nhưng mà những cái này tôi luôn gợi ý cho mọi người là không thể nhìn nguyên là táo, mà phải tìm ra một cái danh từ gì đó nó chung hơn.
Vâng ạ, vậy đáp án của anh là gì?
Cái này thì chắc chắn những người hâm mộ đuổi mắt chữ sẽ đoán ra, và tôi sẽ là người đoán ra sau cùng. Quả bóng vàng.
Chính xác ạ, không quá khó để thử thách cho anh Xuân Bắc. Và chúng ta đã nhìn thấy hình ảnh của bức tranh lớn phía sau rồi ạ. Đây là đáp án thứ 3. Bức tranh thứ 3.
Bức tranh thứ 3. Đây cho tôi hỏi, đây là cái gì đây?
Đây là tảng đá anh ạ.
Đá à?
Đây là xổ thuế, kia là tảng đá. Và đáp án của chúng ta là gì ạ?
10
giây sắp hết rồi ạ.
Mấy giây?
Đáp án của chúng ta chỉ có 2 chữ thôi ạ.
2 chữ thôi ạ.
10 giây của anh đã hết rồi ạ. Đáp án của anh là gì ạ?
Đáp án của tôi đưa ra là đá thuê.
Nhanh ạ. Đá thuê ạ.
Đúng rồi.
Không chính xác ạ. Và một chút gợi ý của chương trình ạ. Đây là một rắc rối mà không ít những cầu thủ bị vướng vào ạ.
À, trốn thuế.
Trốn thuế chính xác ạ.
Ok, ok.
Tiếp
Rồi,
tục
phải
ạ
nhớ
với
rồi.
mảnh ghép thứ tư. Đây là một câu tục ngữ của Việt Nam.
Việt Nam thì nhiều tục ngữ lắm.
Đây là cục sắt này anh ơi. Đây
À,
là
đấy là cục sắt gì?
sắt ạ.
À, rồi. Thôi cái này tôi không trả lời đâu, trả lời nếu mà tôi nói ra mọi người lại bảo là ban tổ chức lại cho tôi trước đáp án, thôi tôi không nói đâu. Những ai đang theo dõi chương trình vui lòng đoán ra cho tôi cái.
Và nếu mà anh không tìm ra đáp án thì Tú Linh xin phép được công bố đáp án. Đáp án của mảnh ghép thứ tư là có công mài sắt, có ngày nên kim. Và xin được đến với mảnh ghép thứ năm, bức tranh thứ năm ạ.
Cái này khó này.
Gợi ý của chương trình là đây là một trận đấu bóng đá mà cả thế giới luôn chờ đợi. Đáp án sẽ có 3 từ. Ngày hôm nay thì chúng ta đến với ngày hôm nay thì chúng ta đến với trận đấu nào ạ?
Chắc chắn là có một cái từ siêu nào đó rồi.
Chính xác ạ.
Có siêu không?
Chắc chắn có từ
Hai
siêu.
từ cuối cùng mong quý vị và tất cả các bạn cùng đoán. Tôi đoán lại bảo là tôi biết trước đáp án. Mặc tiếng tôi lắm.
Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã tới với siêu kinh điển ạ. Cảm ơn anh Xuân Bắc với phần thử thách vừa rồi ạ. Màn phần thi của anh tương đối xuất sắc và bây giờ thì xin mời anh trở về vị trí cùng với bình luận viên Bá Phú ạ.
These are the opening part of the show for the El Clasico. So we invited the comedian here because he's so famous to the women, to the kids, and to the old people in Vietnam. So that kind of game, it is so popular in Vietnam as well. So millions people watch it and follow him. So that's how we introduced the El Clasico in the last season. So that's my presentation. Thank you.